What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Kyren Monteiro Show. It's season number 5, episode number 8, entitled The Journey Creates Luxury, featuring the one and only Stacey Brown. And of course, before we dive in to the episode, y'all know I got to do some self-promoting. Annoyingly, new album Visionary available right now. Let's get it, man. Make sure y'all go check out the podcast on all platforms, man.
I'm in the field, I talk it like I live it. I can rap it cause it's real. Visionary motors, executive might strike a deal. Ain't got no time to waste, we tryna go run up some meals. I keep it real.
You can tell them I'm in the
field. I talk it like I live it. I can rap it cause it's real. Visionary motors, executive might strike a deal. Ain't got no time to waste, we tryna go run up some meals. Yes, sir. I keep it real. Tell them I'm in my business.
What's going on, everybody, man? I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Kyren Monteiro Show, season number 5, episode number 8. We're entitling season number 5 Visionary Series, featuring a lot of different entrepreneurs and leaders who are visionaries, man. So round of applause for y'all tuning in. Make sure that y'all check the podcast out on platforms like Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all the places where the audio podcasts are at. And then if you want to watch the video, check it out on Facebook and YouTube for the HD videos. Now, this young lady that we have sitting to my left, your right, depending on how you're seeing it, is somebody that I came across online, her and her business. And when I was looking for people to reach out to outside of my local region, I seen all of the stuff she was doing, and so I just took a leap of faith, and I just reached out, and she was cool, and she agreed, and as promised, she came in March of this 2026 year, and she's doing some amazing things. I had the opportunity, I believe back in January of 26, to come and visit their real estate office and just kind of like, you know, see their lifestyle and what they do, and they're doing some amazing things down there in the city of Indy. So I want to give a proper introduction. Joining us today is the powerhouse behind Prosperity Estates Co. She's a key figure at Keller Williams down in Indianapolis. She's not just a realtor. She's a specialized expert with some of the most respected designations in the field. She's a certified accredited buyer's representative, meaning she's an elite advocate for those navigating the purchase of a home. She also holds the price and strategy advisor certification, which makes her an absolute wizard when it comes to property valuation and the science of perfect price. But beyond the title, she's a mother, daughter, sister, loyal friend, and a homie of the show. Welcome to one and only Stacey Brown.
Yay.
Was that good enough?
That was great. I appreciate that.
Hey, man, Shannon Sharp be giving the best intro, so I'm trying to just outdo him. You know, just in case I get the big
right
one
there
day.
with him, neck and neck now.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
How's the adjustment during this cold weather been?
A lot of sickness. I can say that. It's been a lot of sickness. But other than that, I mean, it's been pretty solid.
So how does that come in your household? Does that come from your daughters being sick, or is that just from you being around so many people?
I think it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. I mean, kids, they naturally, you know, have all types of germs, but for the most part, when I'm around a lot of people every day, so I just never know what's gonna happen on a day to day.
My daughter will be 2 years old in July, and so for the first year of her life, we said that we wouldn't put her in daycare. Mm-hmm. So she was literally, she turned 1 last year, July 29th. And when my daughter started school, that first week, she started daycare. First day back, my daughter's day back, she started daycare. And since then, man, she's been sick.
Yeah.
Ear infection after ear infection. Yeah. And so, you know, her doctor was like, look, you got to let her go through it now to build her immune system up. So it's just been, and then it'll jump around. So it's, this winter it's been.
I already know.
Been like that.
That's how it is with them. But they got some strong immune systems. My kids have strong immune systems.
Hey man, that's what's happening, man. So like, we got a lot to dive in, man. I'm excited to unpack your story and get some great content out of that. So I know you for living in the city of Indianapolis. I don't know if you were born and raised there, but where were you born and raised? Tell us about how you came up, family dynamic, the origins of how who you are as a person.
So yeah, I actually was born and raised in Indianapolis. So that is my native city.
That's what's happening. Shout out to Indy.
Exactly. On the west side of Indy.
We talking about like Hallville, Speedway.
So it's kind of like in between Speedway and Avon a little bit.
Okay. So the suburbs.
Kinda a little bit. I was teetering off of like 10th and Lyndhurst, 10th and 16th. So technically, I guess you could say Speedway, but we weren't exactly in Speedway.
Okay.
But for the most part, born and raised out there. Went to Ben Davis.
Okay.
Graduated from Ben Davis.
That's what's up.
And for me, I mean, I love the West Side. I would go back out there if I want to eventually, but Indy is my city. I love my city. I know it like the back of my hand. I got family all over, so it's one of those things where it would be hard to leave if I ever decided to leave. So
family-wise, like, you're a little younger than me, but you're a '90s baby. So what did that look like growing up for you on the West Side? Like,
so I was raised by a single mom. My mom, she did everything possible for me. Like, she was my backbone. I love that woman.
Shout out to Mom.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's still in my corner to this day. Always been super supportive.
Make sure you send her the link when it drops.
Oh, for sure. She's going to go crazy.
Yeah. Let her know you made her famous.
For sure. Her and my brother and my sister.
Okay.
We're very close. My dad too. He's amazing. He's a great guy. Really put a lot into me. Both of my parents, they did the best that they could. So, but my father was in Florida, but he still made his way.
That's what's up.
So, but that's pretty much my family. Of course, I have cousins and different things like that. But it's really just my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad.
That's what's up.
We're really close like that.
That's what's up, man. So, with you, growing up, west side of Indy, in that dynamic, are you the oldest of the three?
Yeah.
Oldest,
yeah.
Okay.
So I have two other siblings, but out of my mom's children, it's me, my sister, my brother, and I'm the oldest. And my brother's the middle child. Then it's my younger sister.
Okay. And growing up in a major city, what mentality wise did that give you? Like a kind of like thick skin, growing up, because Indianapolis is, you got to have some thick skin to grow up in Indy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You do.
It's a cutthroat city.
It can be labeled that. It has its places where
it's not like Chicago cutthroat. No disrespect to Chicago, we love y'all, but Indy is in business and in the faith base in the church. It's serious.
Yeah. You do have to have, some type of grit about yourself, some type of, I'm not gonna let nobody run over me type of thing. Because Indy, they will swallow you whole. They will if you let them. And growing up, I mean, I had a lot of different experiences that. Thank goodness that I have my family, because we all protect each other. So it's one of those things where if somebody's messing with my brother or my sister, hey, I'm right there.
Yeah.
Or somebody saying something about me, they're right there for me. So with that dynamic, along with the type of friends that I had and stuff like that, I mean, I feel like it helped shape me to who I am today, because growing up, I was very shy and reserved, and a lot of people don't see that now.
Yeah, I don't.
But growing up, I was very quiet. Didn't really say too much. I didn't let nobody really bully me, but I was a very quiet person.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, a little more bubbly, a little more outgoing, still slightly reserved, but Indy, it really gave me the building blocks of who I need to be and what I need to be in business. Okay. And just, as a mother, friend, all of that. So, yeah, absolutely.
And growing up, did you find yourself in church at all, or any kind of spiritual journey when you were younger at all?
So growing up, yes. Growing up, I was Christian, still is Christian. There was a time in my life where I did take a break from it because of all the confusion that's always centered with religion when it comes to church and what's going on, with it. And for me, I always knew there is a higher power, there is a God, there's somebody looking after me, some type of entity, soul, force, energy, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I always knew that. So growing up, we went to church a lot, and then eventually, as a child, I seen that we stopped going for a while, and I was kind of trying to figure that part out and understand, one, why aren't we going to church? What's going on here? Just from going to church all the time to not going to church, and trying to understand, religion in a whole. And now, as an adult, I go to church. So I take my girls. I go. I feel like it's important to make sure that I stay close to God in that way. And everybody has their own way of going about it. I've always thought you necessarily don't have to go to church in order to be close to God, but you should do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Church definitely doesn't. I grew up with preachers' kids, and I can tell you, I mean, there was times in my life far away. Like I lived far away from what I was taught.
Yeah.
But on Sunday morning would be fronting like I was just the holiest dude. You know what I'm saying? So, no, just because you go to church doesn't mean that you have a relationship. Yeah. But if you do have an authentic relationship, it's dope to be around other people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you grow up on the west side. You come up in church, family oriented, all of that. Let's get up. You graduated from Ben Davis High School.
Yeah.
So now you're ready for the real world.
Yeah.
To start stepping in that adulthood. What does that look like? Did you go to college? Did you go to a trade school? Like, how does adult life start for you?
It was rocky at first. I graduated from BD, academic honors. I had a 4.2 GPA. I took school very seriously.
Yeah, she's gonna say that like there's nothing. I had a 4 point something.
I did. I had
slight flex.
I did really good in high school, and then ended up hitting up some bumpy roads once I turned 18. Literally, basically, after I graduated, ended up, having a lot of hardships. I did go to college for a little bit. But because of the hardships that I had, it was really difficult for me to focus on school because I was going for business administration, and I still didn't know if I wanted to do that. I knew very young that I wanted to be in business. I got books and journals of me writing, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But for the most part, it was difficult. So I stopped going to school. A couple of months in, and was working, trying to find, different jobs and different things that meshed well. Then I ended up finding out I was about to be a mom. So yeah. So
and how old was you as a first time mother?
I had just turned 19. So 18, graduated, went to college for a little bit, stopped college, then boom, find out that I'm about to be a mom. So that was a decision that I did not take lightly. I had to make sure it was something that I knew that I was ready for. Because, young, 19, I got a whole life ahead of me. Yeah. But now I have another
kid having a kid.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things where I had to really sit back and make sure this is what I wanted for myself, because I knew I wanted to be a mom, but I said, am I ready? Is this, what I want to do? And yeah, I just was like, what, God got me. That's basically how I put it, and that's how it's been ever since.
So that's a now you're starting to show the dynamics in your story. So you had plans, and then obviously it's a blessing, but it's a curveball in a way.
Yeah, it is,
because you're not expecting to, you know what I'm saying, to go down that direction. So in that time, where was your mind at? Because at a young age, you said you wanted to be an entrepreneur. So what age is that where you're writing in the journal?
I was very young, so I think I was as young as maybe 15, knowing I wanted to just work on my own. I used to draw people's tattoos for them. I used to draw pictures for people. So I was already making like slight money on my own, doing my own thing since I was really young. And then once I got out of high school, I was trying to still figure out exactly what I wanted to do in business, but I knew I wanted to be in business. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself, whether that was being a full-time artist or a musician, you know, doing singing and music and stuff like that. Or I'm like, what else could I do with my life? What did I really want to do? So becoming a mom wasn't in my plans exactly right then and there, but I knew in me that I didn't have it in me to not give her life. Yeah.
And obviously it's been rewarding because your daughters are in studio with you.
Yeah.
You know, right now. I was reading this book, an entrepreneurship book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. They wrote 3 books, 10X is Easier Than 2X, Who Not How, and A Gap in the Game. One of those books, they talked about how data shows where most entrepreneurs have that first inclination around 15. So, you know, I'm an artist. I come from the arts. So growing up as a drummer, rapper, all of that, at 15, I had that inclination. Like, I want to be in entrepreneurship some kind of way. So for you, and then being a mom and life going different, did it feel like that you were done, or was it like, no, I'm gonna still make this happen?
For a while, I did kind of give up a little bit because I poured everything into being a mom. Like, I knew that I felt like with kids, they're the next generation, and I just wanted to just pour into them. I wanted to make sure that what I bring into this world is perfect. Not perfect, but perfect to me. And that's why I still pour into them. But I also know that they're going to get older. I gotta work on myself. I gotta do something for myself. But I did for a period of time. There was a lot of variables that made me feel that I just couldn't achieve my dreams and stuff like that. But for the most part, I started kicking back into gear and was like, nah, I'm not going to just sit back and just let, you know, life do whatever it wants with me. I've never been a quitter, so I'm not about to quit now.
So when you got back into that curiosity of getting back, wanting to be an entrepreneur, what were you thinking at the time? Because you end up being in real estate, the real estate industry. So did you always have your eye on that, or was it at this time, or was it still the arts? Like, what was you trying to get back into to be that vessel to get back into like entrepreneurship?
So I did a lot of different things over the years. I've helped sell not real estate, but cemetery plots. I've done that. Wow. I've done all kinds of different stuff. I was at Geico for a little bit. So a couple of my friends, they had businesses, so I was a part of their business for a brief moment in time. Okay. So that kind of started helping me get to that point. And then I had ended up getting my CDLs. I thought at a point in time that I wanted to have a transportation business, so I got my CDLBs. I drove for Indigo, drove for Washington Township, IPS for a little while.
So is this like box trucks or just like regular cars?
Actual buses. Actual buses.
Like school buses.
School buses, the big 60-footers, the big buses. So
you was driving those?
I was driving those.
That's wild.
I was driving those.
That's wild.
Yes. And I actually I really enjoyed driving those. But for the most
way
part,
I can handle that.
I'm telling you, I was a force to be reckoned with. I loved driving those buses, and I still would. But I feel like that's kind of behind me now. But as far as what I had wanted to do entrepreneurially was art. I had started doing tattoos for a while. Did a couple on myself, some of my family, some on other people, went to, learn about tattoos and all kinds of different things.
So was you drawing it or you was actually?
I was actually tattooing. I did the ones on my legs. So I did. Yeah.
So you actually was getting busy with the needles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did that for a little bit. And then I wanted to do more like murals and just all kinds of different stuff. So everything pretty much surrounding art was what I had wanted to do. And then I had started my face painting business mainly because of my oldest daughter, because I wanted her to, get familiar with people, because it was just me and her a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And their dad was, out, working, making sure that he was paying the bills and stuff. So I'm saying I need to do something. So I started my face painting business, and that led me to, talking to different people. And then my mom, so I'll backtrack. My mom ended up putting in my head real estate through wholesaling real estate. And that's where the whole realtor thing came about.
Make sure that we break the difference down, because I've never heard wholesaling real estate. So that's can you tell the people what the difference is?
So wholesaling real estate is basically where you are the middleman. You're technically doing what a realtor does illegally, in a sense. We'll say that. That's basically what you're doing.
So is this through a company or is like
no?
Okay.
So how I found out about it was my mom. My mom, was researching. She's always researching something. And she came to me about it and was saying, oh, this is a great way to, make some money, to get into real estate and, figure out basically how to make some money overall. That was the main thing, was making some money. And once I started doing it, I think I only closed like maybe 2 or 3 of them, but I didn't like how it went, and I didn't understand exactly how it was supposed to go. And the people that I was, normally around and talking to about it, it just seemed like it was so quick. I didn't understand what was happening. I'm like, okay, I know that we're supposed to talk to these people about getting their house sold, but how do we do the A to B to C to D? Like, it was just so confusing to me. So the ones that I closed at that time, I didn't even understand what I was doing. So the last time I did one, I know that I was helping a man out trying to sell his property. The company that I was involved with, they were in Texas, and they had got the A contract. So the A contract is with the seller and the company that I was with, us technically. And then we had to find a B contract where we found an end buyer to buy that property, and we get the profits in the middle. So if we got that property under contract for $50,000, we had to find somebody, however much we ended up marking it up, depending on the equity in that property, say we could get $10,000 out of it, we had to find somebody that wanted to buy it for $60,000. So for the most part, it was taking a long time to get that property sold, and the guy. So y'all had to mark up to
make up for the margins that y'all had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it was one of those things where at the time, I was the boots on the ground here because they're in Texas. So I'm talking to the seller, and he's like, I don't understand why it's taking so long for them to buy my property, talking about our company. Because the way you spin it in wholesaling is, we're going to buy your property, give us 30 days. But they don't know that they're getting that property is getting assigned most of the time, and assigning it is finding the end buyer. Basically, what I do now as a realtor, I get that property under contract, I put it on the MLS, I'm marketing it to find somebody to get this property, and then boom, selling it that way. What we were doing was marking it up and taking away their equity, which is what I did not like, and I didn't want to go that route. Now I see a lot of wholesalers that are still doing it. They are forthcoming and letting them know what they're doing, but it's still one of those things where you're still supposed to be licensed to do what we do. So,
so you didn't like that path.
I didn't. No.
So you went from wholesaler, and you like, okay, I don't like this. I want to jump on the other side.
Yeah.
As a realtor, what does that journey look like?
So after I told that guy, I said, you should go get a realtor. That's what I told him. And after I told him that, I said, I want to, if I'm going to be a real estate agent or do real estate, I need to understand what I'm getting myself into. What am I doing? I want to be able to help people the right way, because that's naturally my heart, is to help. So I ended up, who was it? Another realtor that I'm friends with, his name's Patrick McNeil. He had, I'm trying to remember how we even got in contact. I can't remember, but he had introduced me to my first managing broker, Regina Jones, with Carpenter Realtors. And it was a hit or miss at first, because I ended up going to real estate school, and they introduce you to all kinds of other different brokerages that you can interview with. So I had met with her, and then I said, okay, I got to go get my real estate license first, yada, yada. Ended up going to real estate school, the Tucker School of Real Estate, getting my license there. You got to apply and put out so much money into it or whatnot to get your license and get, registered. After I done all that, I had to interview with a couple of different real estate agencies, which I did. I interviewed at least like 5 or 6 of them to see which one fit best. And at the time, since I was new and just jumping in head first, which I do not recommend, you got to make sure you have somebody saved up. You got to make sure you're good to go. Thank goodness my family is close, because they helped me out a whole lot. Because I did not do the right thing. But I end up basically signing with Carpenter Realtors, and I was there with them for the first 2 years of my career.
Okay, that's what's up. So a close friend of mine, I actually know several people who have went, because just like anything, you see people marketing something. People see you at the top of the mountain, but they don't understand the climb up, right? And it's easy to want to be in a position when you don't know, but you don't know what somebody went through to get there, right? Yeah. So I've heard that obtaining a real estate license is one of the hardest tests that you can take. I've heard this from really smart people. I have a really close friend who's really smart, doing powerful things right now. He, at one point, I think a little after COVID, maybe 21, 22, 20, like between 20 and 22 was trying to get his license. And he was like, bro, it's like one of the hardest tests I've ever taken. Yeah. Because I think at one point he was even getting his master's. He had already graduated with his bachelor's. And he was just like, it's the hardest test I've ever. He felt it.
It's tough. It is tough. It's because of the way they spin the questions. Like you really gotta think about them. And they're not trying to trick you. It's just the way they word it. So you really have to pay attention to what you're reading. Otherwise, you're gonna miss the question.
So for somebody like yourself that academically was real successful, coming up in high school, was that test challenging for you?
It wasn't challenging. So I actually had to take it twice. The first time I missed by like 2 points. And it was because I was not paying attention. My mind was everywhere.
Was you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous. I had a lot going on because I had just stopped. I had quit my job to do this.
To dive head first.
Because that's why I said don't do that, because I was really thinking about a whole lot at that time. And that my job wasn't trying to work with me. I asked them to go part-time so I can go to real estate school or whatnot, and they were like, no. So that's why I was like, all over the place. I was frazzled. But there's 2 tests that you have to take. You got the national and you have the state. I passed the state the first time. The national, I missed by like 2 points. So I had rescheduled to take it the following week in Kokomo. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to stress out. I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to tackle this test. I'm not going to worry about nothing. I'm not going to let myself stress out. I'm going to take this hour drive and get whatever I need to get out of myself right here, right now. But once I walk through those doors, I'm taking this test and I'm passing it. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
That's some boss stuff, man. So when you take a state test, obviously that's one license you here in Indiana, I'm imagining. So, but nationally, does that mean that you can sell houses anywhere?
No. So as a realtor here in Indiana, I can sell anywhere in Indiana. But once you step outside of the Indianapolis or Indiana boundaries, you got to get your license in the other states. There are reciprocity states, but you'll have to still take some type of little quiz or something. It just depends on the state.
Okay.
So
you essentially got to take tests for every state. You got to take that many tests.
Basically, some of them where like if you take some type of certification or a state or some type of test, you don't have to do all the other extra things that you got to do with the other states that don't have reciprocity. So Georgia's one of those reciprocity states, and I think Florida is too. There's a couple of different states that I've looked into that I'm like, okay, if I do this, all I got to do, I don't have to take the whole 90-hour or a whole 30-hour test and whatnot. I don't have to do all that extra stuff just to get my license there.
That's one thing I love about certain industries like real estate, being a license, a barber. Like there's mandatory things that you have to do.
Yeah.
Like as an audio engineer, I've given so much like to get where I am, and like there's just people that just go buy equipment and like, I'm an audio engineer.
Yeah.
It's just like I wish there was like certifications and more hoops that you had to jump through to do it. But I mean, it is what it is, man. So you get into real estate, you're working with a firm for you say your first 2 years. How do you get to where you're at now with Keller Williams? Because that's a huge company.
Yeah. So my first 2 years was a lot of learning. It was a lot of learning. I jumped in head first. In real estate school, they don't teach you how to sell real estate, how to connect with people. It's really a skill that if you don't already have it naturally, you got to learn it. Because you're going to be dealing with people's problems, people's real life scenarios, real life things that's going on. And it's not about you when you are a realtor. It's not about the money. It's not about you. It's about them and what they got going on and how you're going to help them to get from A to Z. That's it. So my first 2 years was a lot of learning experience, and thankfully I did have some people in my corner that helped me, that seen something in me that they were like, hey, I really want to make sure we pour into you. We want to pour into you. And they did. They helped me with my listing presentations. They helped me with the contracts. If I needed help with understanding what this contract meant, they helped me with it. Like, it was a lot of things that they really took me under their wing, and I will always be grateful for them for that, because they didn't have to do that. Yeah. That office really set the mold for what I am today, and I appreciate every last one of those people in that office. I still love them regardless of where everyone is in life, because everybody always, go their separate ways. But for the most part, those first 2 years, I wouldn't trade that for nothing, because that really helped me understand real estate, understand how to go about it, how to speak to people in a certain way, and really, because I'm already like that anyway, but it really helped shape my mind, because I was, 24, 25 getting into this business. So I was young, and I'm, coming from working at Geico and cemetery plots and transportation and X, Y, and Z to stepping into this big girl role and, trying to help people with their equity, with their homes, with moving their families. That is a big step for a 24-year-old. So
this isn't in the notes, but I just, as you talk, I'm just like, things are coming up in my head. So there's parts in your journey where you got to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. You wasn't expected to be a mother. Yeah. You had to do what you had to do. You had to pivot. You're selling cemetery plots, the Geico, whipping buses, like that's crazy. What, during that journey and you being kind of fearless, right, of trying things, what did you learn from dipping your hands in different things? Because I feel like when we come through school, the education systems is not like meant to train us up to be leaders. I feel like it trains us to be followers. Yeah. To cap our value. For sure. Almost like professional servitude. Almost, I feel like I don't want to be disrespectful. No, I agree with you. To the school system, but it doesn't get you ready for life. Yeah. Or leadership at all. And a lot of times, people like us who are younger and have that entrepreneur spirit or that leadership almost kind of rebel against systems like that in ways. So you pivoted and trying these different things, like, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Especially driving buses. That shocked me. That is hilarious. I almost started driving semis. That was what I was going to do. But then that's a great career for people, though. It is. But I started thinking about it. I said, do I really want to? I know a lot. Yeah, because they were very young when I started driving. I think my youngest one, she was 1, I think she was 1 or something. So I was away from her a lot, and me being a full-time mom, that broke me. I couldn't keep doing that. So I had to find something where I could be with them a lot of the times and stuff like that. And then real estate still took me away. So either way it goes, you're going to be, making sacrifices. But what I learned through all the different career paths that I took was that, one, I'm adaptable. Whatever I put myself into, I will learn it and I will master it. That's one thing that I've known about myself since I was young. I've taught myself how to draw, do tattoos, do writings, novels, all kinds of stuff. I've always known, and this isn't to be like all egotistical or nothing, but I just know that when I am put into a situation, I will figure out how to navigate it and make sure I make it seamless and smooth, because that's how I think. I don't want to have any crinkles, bumps, anything wrong with the system. You're a problem solver. Yeah, I need to make sure that everything checks all the boxes. If it doesn't check a box, I need to figure out how I'm going to check this box. Yeah. I'm good with people. I've always known that I have a good relationship with humankind in a sense. Whenever I come around people, I just know how to vibe with people. Yeah. And I've never really had too many issues. I mean, it's really rare that I could speak on any major problems that I've had with people, because I'm pretty laid back for the most part. What you get is what you see. I put my self out there on social media, and what you see on social media is what you're gonna get right here. It's nothing different. And also that I know that being an entrepreneur was for me. Going through the motions of being underneath, different corporations, I'm like, I really like working for myself. Even the times where I've thought about going back and working for somebody, I'm like, I like doing my own thing. I can make my own schedule. I can, be with my kids. My kids can come with me. I get to meet all kinds of different people on different walks of life. I get to experience so many different people. So those were the main 3 major things that I found out about myself. And I found out weaknesses too. So it was just a lot. It was very eye-opening for me through this whole thing. Your story, it makes me think about, I guess, being on the other side of the coin now, and you're going to be there. I think you already are, and that's given opportunity, right? So there's 2 things. One, you had to put yourself in a position to be ready for the opportunity, right? And then there's the other side where somebody had to give you a shot, right? That agency, for the first 2 years, they gave you a shot, and that shot helped, birth technically the wholesale, but
yeah,
the professional lane, they gave you that shot. So like I think about our current marketing director for our agency, Media by Canvas. I've shared that story with you off camera. Like we just started that last year, and it's been amazing growth. And I didn't want to do it. And our marketing director, his name is Daryl Hardy Jr. He's 26, graduated from Ball State. He's actually from the west side of Indy.
Come on.
So I had to connect y'all. Yeah. He's from Indy.
Yes.
We got connected because he works for employed by another organization here. And so he reached out for a podcast, and we ended up getting connected. And he applied for some agencies in Indianapolis. And they said, you have the skill, but you don't have the experience. Right? So at the end of 24, begged me. I don't want to say beg. That's disrespectful. But he definitely several times, hey, Kyren, you got me. We got a lead graphic designer. We got a team. Like, let's create an agency.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Like, you have the relationships and you have the resources in place and the skill set as a leader, as a CEO to make it happen.
Right.
Like, let's build this dream team.
Right.
I didn't want to do it. No, because I am stubborn.
Okay.
And when I have my head on something, like I'm like, yo, I got my vision plan. I got this plan wrote out. I'm on this over here.
Right.
And so sometimes God and life will rock you a little bit and challenge you. And so this last year and 3 to 6 months has been the most learning that I've been as a full-time entrepreneur. I've been a full-time entrepreneur now almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in April of this year. And yeah, so when I think about opportunities, now Daryl, since he's had that chance, he's been able to show off because the skill set was there. He just needed a platform to help launch that. And the boy ain't no joke.
That's what I'm talking
about.
The boy
bad, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying? And so, so for you, I guess from that side, how important is it for corporations and companies and people with the platforms to give people a shot? Because sometimes if you can see the skill set, but in Daryl's case, they're like, we want you to have so many years of experience. Well, he's fresh out of college. He's fresh out of Ball State. So he's not going to, how does he have the experience already in corporate America and he just graduated high school?
Right.
I'm glad they said no.
Yeah.
Because that was a blessing for our organization. So I'm glad they told him no. But if they didn't give you an opportunity,
right,
that wouldn't unlock your, you know what I'm saying, your real estate career. So how important is it for people with platforms to give people who deserve it an opportunity?
It's really important. I mean, it's almost like I don't want to say a life or death thing, but it really is, because how are we ever going to grow? How are we ever going to know what we can, do with ourselves if we don't get that shot? And for me, really, all realtors, when we get into this, once we take this career path and we take on the designation of being a realtor, you really gotta be selfless. This is not an industry where you have to think about yourself. You have to think about others. And if that's not your heart, people gonna tell that, like, right off the bat. They're gonna know that, hey, she in it for the money. She don't care about me. She don't care about what I got going on. Now, unless it's an investor, most of the time they're kind of like, more number based. But when you're dealing with families and you're dealing with real life situations, you have to be selfless. And as far as the corporations and really what I experienced getting into this industry, a lot of people just kept saying they see something in me. That was the main thing, was like they felt like you are going to make a difference in other people's lives, and we want to be a part of that. So I respect that. I appreciate it. I receive it.
I got to see it.
Appreciate that. Because, I mean, without that, I don't know. Because a lot of people don't get the same opportunities. A lot of people do get looked over because they're young and they're trying to be this big shot realtor that everybody thinks that we are. So for me, and knowing that people looked at me and said, hey, I really respect what you got going. I see what you're trying to do. I want to help you. That literally saved my life in this career.
Yeah. Every guest on this season 5, we're calling this season 5 Vision Talk. And my new album Visionary is I feel like it's the content is similar to Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap. I don't know if you're a Nipsey Hussle fan or not.
Yeah, I like Nipsey.
I love Nipsey. That particular album, it's sad what happened to him, man. Guys like him and Dolph, we was talking about Dolph. It's sad. But one thing I know what the word visionary means. I know how I look at it. But for you, if you had to redefine or write a definition of what that means for you from your own experience, how would you define that? What is a visionary to Stacey Brown?
Somebody who has grit and determination, creativity, and inspiration to go after what you want. That is a visionary to me, because a lot of the times I don't see how I'm going to get through things. As a realtor, you're basically unemployed every day. I don't know where things are going to come from some of the times. Now, yes, you can have systems in place and you can project the future on what you're expected to make this year, but that's still not necessarily exactly set in stone. People change their mind. Things happen. People might divorce or people might have babies, just all kinds of different things that can happen. So a visionary is really somebody that can actually see the future and interpret it and understand that it may not go this way, but I'm still going to go this way because I know that something good is going to come out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta salute that, man. And this is all women, and I don't understand the struggles of being a woman because I'm not a woman, but especially for African American women. Did that camera shut off? You see a red light?
No, it's still a white light, but that one
okay.
doesn't have a red light.
It's your camera that shut off. It'll be all right. You leave it in there. For people that want to be a visionary as African American women, what advice would you give? Because I feel like African Americans as a whole, we have our own struggle. But I feel like African American women definitely have a unique struggle that are different from men. And so how does what would you advise?
I actually talk to a lot of women all the time, especially the ones that want to become realtors. It's really one of the things. One, for me, it's really setting it up in your mind and getting your mindset straight to where this is what I want to do. Whether it's becoming a real estate agent, being a nail artist, being a IT expert, going to school for nursing, whatever you decide to do, you really have to make sure you get your mindset right. That's the biggest thing, because if you're constantly negative in a negative space and talking negative to yourself and surrounding yourself with negativity, then it's not going to work. You have to literally put yourself in that situation, in that season, to where I'm going to do this no matter what. I know there's going to be obstacles that come up. I know there's going to be things that I'm not going to be able to understand. I might have a situation where it's going to try to throw me off track. You have to see it through. That's just the main thing right there. The biggest thing is your mindset. It's making sure that you understand that you just get yourself to a point to where if I can get 1% better every day, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be okay.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Being a single mom, how do you, not single mom, but being a mom and balancing, running a business, growing your business and your brand, still being there for your daughters. How do you balance that?
So I time block. I had to learn how to manage my time, because otherwise everybody else would take my time.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, I really had to understand that. In my first 2 years, I forced myself to time block, because otherwise I would be for everybody else, and there would be no Stacey. So time blocking and time management was my biggest and best decision for not only myself, but for my daughters and my business, because it's no different than with lawyers and doctors and, the whole nine. They have their schedule. They have their cutoff. I have to have my cutoff. I understand that I'm a realtor and I sell houses and I help people and all that good jazz, but I'm also still a human being. I still have, commitments to not only myself, but to my next generation. So I had to time block and make sure that I communicate that with my clients up front so they can understand, how to work with me, how to navigate, because I'm not a 24/7 realtor. I tell that all the time. I will work as much as possible and do as much as I can for my clients, but once it's time for me to be with my kids, then I'm with my kids.
Is there such thing as a 24/7 realtor?
Yeah, there are some people that work 24/7. They will answer the phone no matter what time. I'm just not that realtor. So I had to put a boundary there. It's different if I didn't have any other obligations, but considering that I am a mom, I won't allow anybody to take my time away from my family. That's just one thing that I had to learn quickly. Otherwise, who knows what my kids will turn out to be.
Wow. I couldn't, certain industries, like coming from the music industries, it's demanding, right? So, you're working with clients. You'll have clients, touch about, records being engineered and turned around sometimes 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They might be reaching out. Now, you can put your phone on D&D. You can choose not to respond. But in a real estate industry, that's crazy that people feel like they can just demand.
Yeah, they do. They do. I've had people call me at crazy hours. Crazy hours. And I'm literally like, I'm not up that early. I'm not up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to answer the phone.
Yeah, talking about a house at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning is crazy.
Not doing
that. For that, like I said, for that type of industry, that's crazy to me, man. Well, your story is dope, man. I think I love hearing about anybody who go through things in life but still overcome. You know what I'm saying? And still, because we all make mistakes. We all bump our heads. We all have curveballs thrown at us in life. But I think being a true visionary is withstanding all the storms and kind of just not giving up. You know what I mean? And so a hot topic right now in real time is artificial intelligence. I've asked other guests what they thought about it. You in the real estate industry, how is artificial intelligence, how is that playing into your guys' world? Is it helping with contracts? Is it helping automate systems? Like how is that helping you guys right now?
So for the most part, we use it for marketing and creating content purposes. We can ask it how to word certain things or whatnot, but I personally wouldn't let it do the realtor aspect of what I need to do. Like going over contracts and stuff, that's my job. I don't need it, going over contracts and writing this and that. That's what I'm supposed to do. Worst case scenario, I can call up our lawyer and ask, hey, how should I word this?
So you don't even use it for that at all?
No, I don't use it for that. Because, ultimately, it's so broad to where it may not even it might pull in other avenues in different states or whatnot. I don't want to get myself in trouble, and I don't want to mislead my clients in that aspect to where I'm using AI to write a contract for me.
Right. So
I'd rather just ask, the human beings in the office, like, hey, how should I write this? Should I write it this way or whatnot? Because ultimately, as realtors, we can interpret contracts. We can't write up and draw up new contracts. So I wouldn't want AI to do that for me anyway. But it's really just more social media based for me, at least, and coming up with ideas. Yeah. Okay, what should I talk about to my spirit this day? What are the 5 issues that a lot of buyers facing right now? How should I help them address that? Yeah. What type of content or script can I make today that'll address these 5 issues with buyers, or these 5 issues with sellers? What's the trending staging trends this year or whatnot? It's just all kinds of different things like that. Just so when I'm talking to people, I kind of got a good synopsis on things. But as far as anything else, mostly administrative. Like if I wrote an email and I feel like it's not conveying the way I want to, I'm like, hey, chat, how can I improve this a little better, make this a little smoother, and just put in a prompt and see what it says. And if I like it, use it. If not, then, or maybe my listing descriptions, more administrative things. I don't want to take away the human aspect of my business because that's what makes me me, and that's what people gravitate towards.
There's a lot of people that are really scared of it right now. But the more I think that I work with people who are specialized at high levels, I think their value can be shown more. And I think that from a marketing standpoint, right? Obviously, I'm going to think about stuff from this. But I think of, like, myself as an audio engineer. There are people and tools right now where, people feel like they can replace you for that skill set. But it's a super deep skill set, right? Yeah. And AI is not going to replace me. Yeah. And the people who would try to replace me with AI may not be able to pay for those services anyways because it may be too high. You know what I mean? So I think that if human beings can focus on being the best and then using it as a tool to make them more efficient, you know what I mean? I think that's the way to go, especially in the arts. And you talked about, you being an artist, you told me your sister is an artist. I think in the arts, that's going to be one of the most rebellious places.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's crazy is a lot of the young people who are about to graduate high school, in college right now, they don't like it. Yeah. I think the 30 and up, the 35 and up crowd love AI because you've been in the field a little bit. You know how to use it to make you more efficient. But at that age,
they don't care too much about it.
Well, you have no experience at that point. So you're learning, and you don't want to let AI teach you the journey. Right. You got to be able to go through the ropes yourself. So shockingly, they rebel against it. That surprises me. Yeah. Because I would think they would be like
more hands-on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people try to paint younger people as being lazy, but they're rebelling against it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're finding all kinds of creative ways to make content and do things now. So they really don't need AI because they're so creative in different ways. Yeah. So it just depends. For like you said, I'd rather use it to enhance my business, not to be all in my business. It's a great tool as long as you utilize it for a tool. Once you start letting it replace you, that's where you're in trouble.
I got to ask you one more question. You promote yourself as a luxury realtor. Yeah. I meant to ask you this earlier in the interview, so it can be in more chronological order. What is a luxury realtor? Especially me being in Marion is a smaller market. It's not as the social economic class here is I think maybe 30-40% in poverty. So it's not as many people, and it's not as many high end earners here as much as Indianapolis. How many of y'all got? 1.2 million, something like that?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, y'all got a lot. It's like top 20 biggest cities. Yeah. I love Indy. So you're a luxury realtor. So like, what does that mean? Are you selling to Tyrese Halliburton after a game? like what is that?
So yeah, basically those type of homes, or it's really just the experience. For me, I can make anybody's experience feel luxurious to me. Yes, it is a certain price point, $500,000 and up. Okay. But at the same time, I think everybody deserves that feeling, regardless if it's a $100,000 home or a $2 million home. You want to have that experience and get that experience for everybody. Now, depending on what that person's looking for, okay, but I still want you to walk away feeling like, oh, this was like the best experience that I've ever had. Like nobody's ever made me feel like that or actually cared about me,
So you kind of like the Rolex brand of house. It's like
that's how I like to think. I like to think like that.
You gotta be ready to spend a certain amount of money to come talk to you, essentially.
I guess you can say that because everything's negotiable in real estate. Okay. So it's not a set price. I know a lot of people think that it is, but it's not. Everything's negotiable.
But essentially, like a first time home buyer, like first newlywed couple house. Stacey Brown probably might, unless you got it like that, may not be the option.
When it comes to first-time home buyers, I always let them know that everything's negotiable. I say that up front every single time. And then I also let them know that we have to go over this buyer's agreement. It's an agreement that binds an agent and a buyer together to work together. Otherwise, we can't go see houses together. So after I talk to them about the buyer's agent's agreement, the commission part comes in, and I do let them know that, hey, anywhere from 3.5% and lower is really what we're looking at. And I always try to negotiate that price from the seller to keep more money in my buyer's pocket, only because a lot of them are first-time home buyers, and a lot of them don't have that type of money on hand. So it's different if they have that type of money on hand, and then, you know, if they're willing to pay half or this and that, however we go about it. But for the most part, I try to make it reasonable and, you know, just give them the rundown on what they're going to be going through when it comes to working with me. I don't charge a retainer fee or do interest and all that stuff. I don't do all that in general. But I do like to let them know that if the seller is not willing to pay, then yes, we are going to have to talk about compensation, because otherwise, I mean, it's either that or we go look at a house that is willing to pay that compensation.
You know what they say, niches make riches. I think that there's certain things I hate exclusivity in, but I think when you're running a business and growing a business, there's a point to where you have that ideal market, right? Yeah. And I think it's okay to say, this is the range I'm going to work with. Yeah. And it's not a bougie thing. It's not an arrogant thing. It's just,
this is what I'm specializing in.
Yeah, this is what I want to do. And so I think for me, as an entrepreneur, that's been tough. Especially as an audio engineer and when you're working with Black and Brown, mainly in the music industry, you know, as an artist, that term struggling artist is real for most people. So for me, I would deserve these super high rates, but I would find myself always giving discounts. Yeah. Just having a heart to, you know, like, even people that don't have the money still deserve quality for their art. But years of that wasn't good.
Yeah, you got to stand strong on your prices, because it's no different than with me. When I'm talking to people and my clients or whatnot, if they're just not ready to pay, then, I mean, I have to still run my business. I still have an overhead that I have to look at, and I have to make sure that it makes sense for me. Now, if I can give some type of a break, okay, but ultimately, I mean, it's not being mean to let them know, hey, you know, maybe we should, you know, hold off a bit, because otherwise you're going to sink too. Yeah. And then you're going to be operating at a scarcity, and you're going to be operating out of, you know, survival mode. And a lot of people can smell that on you. It's almost like, you know, they know that you're desperate, and they're going to prey on you for that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, man. Any last advice that you would give people watching and listening?
Just go after your dreams, and don't let people, you know, make you feel like you can't do it. I had a lot of pushback when I decided to become a realtor. People are like, that's not a real job. That's not this. That's not that. You know, just all kinds of different stuff.
You mean all kind of people make wealth off of being a realtor?
Exactly.
They said that's not a real job?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard it all, man.
I've heard it. I've heard a lot of stuff. How am I doing it with 2 kids, and how am I doing it by myself, and this and that. Just all kinds of things. Just keep at it. Consistency always beats talent. So even if you feel like you're not good at something, if you learn the skills that are needed, you will win.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. Consistency beats talent, man. Consistency beats talent. I heard somebody say that talent will get you through the door, but your character will keep you there.
Yep.
And so I think that's good. Where can people find you? Where can they get a hold of you at?
All social media platforms, really. Facebook, Stacey Brown. Instagram, Stacey Sold It For Me. TikTok. Stacey the Realtor. I got all kinds of different handles and stuff like that. But mostly Facebook and Instagram are the main two that I'm always on. All the other ones I'm just kind of sporadically on there.
What about for the art? Do you still promote that?
No, I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't drawn in probably about a year. It's been a while. I do want to get back into it, but more for fun, not for business, because it became a chore and it wasn't really a passion for me anymore. So I think that's where I really want to make that more of just a passion thing. And I always just like giving away my art. That was one thing that I always did, and people were like, "Why are you always doing that?" Because I just want people. If you like it, I want to give it to you. That's just me. Yeah. So.
Sometimes you got to stand on your prices too. That I get it. I get it. It's tough when you love something and then it becomes a business. Yeah. And then all of the other stuff clouds what made you love it in the first place. I get that, man. I get that. Well, I appreciate you coming, making the drive down from Indy, man. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of course.
For those still tuning in, make sure that you check Stacey out on the platforms that she said. Check out the show on all platforms. You can get my new album. It's available. Check out KyrenMonteiro.com. And until next time, man, salute to the visionaries, man. Thank y'all.